The second half of the 2023 MLB season is officially here, and the All-Star break was pretty fun because we saw Paul Skeens, Dylan Cruz, and Max Clark go as the first 3 picks, and all 3 of these guys could be future superstars, so I'm excited to see how they develop. I was at the Home Run Derby, and I saw Vladimir Guerrero Jr. finally win. He narrowly beat Randy Arozarena. Now, speaking of Randy, he made a sick catch in the All-Star game, but Elias Diaz of the National League, he hit a 2-run home run. He won MVP as the NL finally won their first W in the All-Star game in 10 years. We're going to talk about the Cardinals and the fact that their GM or their president of operations is trying to trade almost everyone. Well, not everyone. We'll talk about that. The Yankees are apparently in on Shohei Ohtani. Just a lot to get into today. Now, a quick reminder before we get into today's recap, if you guys are going to any baseball games or concerts anytime soon, use code Fuzzy on SeatGeek to save 20 bucks off. Now, before we talk about the Cardinals players that could be getting shipped as soon as the next few weeks, I do want to talk about a quote from Buster Olney. We all know Buster Olney from the old days of Baseball Tonight. I don't even know if that show even exists anymore. I rarely watch ESPN for baseball, but this is what he had to say about Shohei Ohtani and the Yankees.
Well, you start with the Yankees, the Yankees, the Yankees, the Yankees, the Rangers, the Rays, maybe a small handful of teams, but there's no doubt. In talking with sources yesterday, they see the Yankees as potentially being the most motivated because Garrett Cole, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, they're middle-aged players right in the prime of their careers. This is the Yankees' window to win now. You bring in Ohtani. Suddenly the Yankees rotation with him involved looks so strong. Ohtani hitting in Yankee Stadium, which favors left-handed sluggers. That's something I'm sure the Yankees would be willing to pay for if Ohtani is made available by the Angels.
So as you just heard, Buster only thinks that the Yankees are the favorite to land Shohei Ohtani, but to me, the reason why I don't know if that makes sense is because if you're going to acquire Shohei Ohtani, you're going to have to trade away 2 or 3 of your top 10 prospects as well as 2 or 3 MLB-ready players just for a rental. You have no idea if Shohei Ohtani is going to re-sign with you after he becomes a free agent once the 2023 season comes to an end. Now, obviously, Shohei is having one of the greatest seasons by any human in the history of baseball. He has a 6.5 WAR on Baseball Reference. Right now, he's leading Major League Baseball with 32 home runs. He has a 182 OPS plus, 11 stolen bases just for fun, and that's in the batter's box. On the mound, he's been really good. He has a near 3 ERA with 100 plus strikeouts. 100 plus hits in the batter's box. Whatever you need from Shohei Ohtani as a baseball player, he's going to give it to you, aside from defense. Obviously, he doesn't do that. So maybe the Yankees do have enough capital because Jason Dominguez, the Martian, is supposed to be pretty good. Now, he has been struggling so far in 2023. A lot of people are big fans of Austin Wells, not only as a catcher, but as a hitting coach as well. He's being credited as saving Anthony Volpe, but Spencer Jones, a lot of Yankees fans are high up on him. Trey Sweeney, I really like his swing. So right now, there are some pieces in place for the Yankees to make a move, but for me, I really feel like they're going to wait for Aaron Judge to get healthy. They're going to keep building Carlos Rodon's arm and actually have him go 6 or 7 innings because that's what he's best at. I think that Montas and Nestor Cortez are going to come back healthy towards the later half of the season, and hopefully they can be good. But right now, the Yankees, do they need Shohei Ohtani? Sure, but for a rental, I'm not sure if that makes sense. Moving on over to the St. Louis Cardinals, John Mozeliak. This guy completely botched the season, in my opinion. I was looking at the roster and I thought, okay, on paper, their lineup is going to be really good, but that pitching, it's going to be bad. And bad is really an understatement. If we take a look at the 2023 Cardinals and their pitching rotation, Miles Michaelis, 4.23, Jordan Montgomery, he's injured now, so their best pitcher with a 3.2 ERA, he's going to be out for quite some time. Flaherty, Matz, they both have ERAs above 4. Wainwright has been one of the worst pitchers I've ever seen with a near 8 ERA. Matthew Liberatore, he's been a bust, and even their bullpen has not been that great. You lost out on Ryan Helsley as well because he's down with an injury, so anything that could go wrong on the pitching side of things, it went even worse than they could have ever possibly imagined. Offensively, they've been all right. And to add insult to injury, we saw Randy Arozarena in the Home Run Derby and making a sick grab in the All-Star game. The exact same story can be said about Adolis Garcia. You guys see this picture right here? They were once Cardinals. Now, I don't know if you can necessarily blame John Mozeliak because these guys weren't really performing, especially Adolis Garcia. He wasn't the best in the minors. Randy, I thought that he was pretty good in his short stint as a big leaguer for St. Louis. Once upon a time, in a recap years ago, I said that he was going to be pretty good. He stole home and had an outfield assist. He just showed off all the tools. So the fact that this was compounded with the Cardinals being one of the biggest disappointments of the 2023 season. Yeah, Cardinals fans, they are not happy with their GM, and the question is being asked right now, do they trade Nolan Arenado? No. You are sniffing the craziest of crazy stuff if you think that the Cardinals are going to trade Nolan Arenado. The biggest reason why, he is having a good season. He has 19 home runs, a bunch of doubles, a 129 OPS plus, but also if you take a look, he's not a free agent until 2028, so that makes absolutely no sense. I don't see any other team wanting to pick up his contract. On the contrary, Paul Goldschmidt, I feel like he's even less likely to be traded, but then again, we've seen him traded before when he was, I mean, pretty much at his peak. We know that he won MVP with the Cardinals, but I mean, Diamondbacks Goldie, he was absolutely insane. I mean, once upon a time in a single season, he hit 24 home runs while hitting 297, had 32 stolen bases with the 133 OPS plus. I mean, that was an insane year for Paul Goldschmidt, but the reason why I bring up Goldie is he's about to be 36 years old. He's 36 in September, and he's going to be a free agent after the 2024 season, so heading into 2025. So if anyone was going to get traded from the big names of the Cardinals, it's probably the reigning NL MVP winner. Now, some other pieces that I think could be in play, obviously the pitchers, I mean, they got to really work on that going into 2024, but Wilson, maybe. I mean, he has a 105 OPS plus, a bunch of doubles. He's in that 20 double club. He's got some home runs, but he just signed that deal. I don't know if he's going to go anywhere, but Paul DeJong, maybe he is shipped off. You have Lars Nootbaar, who is completely untouchable. Same with Jordan Walker, but some other guys like Tommy Edman, Dylan Carlson, Tyler O'Neill. I think that Tyler O'Neill is a free agent after 2023, this upcoming season, so maybe Tyler O'Neill is the one guy that is going to get shipped out, but then again, he's got a 69 OPS plus. He has not been the same since breaking out in 2021. Another player that is rumored to be on the move in the next few weeks, Lucas Giolito. Oh, it's actually his birthday today. Happy birthday, Lucas Giolito. So he turned 29 years old today, and he is in the middle of a bounce back season. That is why he is being so highly coveted by teams like the Dodgers and the Houston Astros. The Astros are really going to try and get some starting pitchers, considering Christian Javier has not really been all that great in 2023. He has slightly regressed, but I do think that he's going to finish the season strong. Same with guys like Sandy Alcantara and Alek Manoah, some top flight pitchers that really started shaking in 2023. To me, they're going to bounce back and really get used to the pitch clock. Lucas Giolito, he's got a 3.5 ERA. He's got 117 strikeouts and 112 innings. So the strikeout stuff, it's always going to be there. The biggest issue with Lucas is he going to allow some walks and the home runs? So that FIP is really going to be in question. He does have a 4.2 FIP, which is not the best, but a 3.45 ERA, someone who's 6'6". He's thrown a no-hitter before. He has shown that he can be an ace for a big league club. The Dodgers and the Astros, they would be perfect fits. So if you guys want to stay up to date in terms of the trades coming before the deadline, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button because there's going to be a lot of big ones in my opinion. Now, some other news, the A's, they're making a splash to start off the second half. They're calling up their number 1 prospect and their number 3 prospect. Tyler Soderstrom, he's number 1. Zach Geloff, he is number 3. Now, this means good news for me because I'm a big-time fan of Darell Hernaiz. He is going to be called up to AAA. I'm going to his debut today. So if you're in Las Vegas, going to an Aviators game, today would be a lot of fun. But Tyler Soderstrom, I mean, this dude was an absolute menace in AAA at 21 years old. Okay, the batting average is not going to be there, but he actually hit better away from Las Vegas, and Las Vegas is known as a launching pad. But Soderstrom, he is a top 50-ish prospect over the last 2 years. Again, he's 21 years old. He had 20 home runs and 15 doubles in just 69 games. And the same amount of games, Zach Geloff, he raked. He hit 304 with 34 extra base hits and 20 stolen bases alongside Tyler Soderstrom. So I'm not going to say that the A's are going to be dominant in the second half, but they should be better because one of their biggest weaknesses is the fact that they're not really getting a lot of slugging from lefties. So Tyler Soderstrom, he should give you that even though he's 21 years old. I don't know if he's going to be playing first, if he's going to be a DH, if he's going to be allowing Shea Langoliers to get some time off behind the dish because he can play first and catcher. Maybe you have Zach Geloff moving around the infield, but I do expect the A's to be a little bit better now that they've called up some of their top prospects and that Mason Miller, we got some good news. I thought maybe he was going to be missing the entire 2023 season, but he is actually beginning a throwing program. So if JP Sears can keep getting better, if Luis Medina can show some progress and Mason Miller can come back healthy, I'm not saying the A's are going to be world beaters, but they're definitely going to be better. We're going to go ahead and do the daily immaculate grid in just a second, but real quick before we get into that, I do want to update you guys before the second half actually starts. I want to give you guys a clear breakdown of all the stat leaders as well as the standings real quick before we do the immaculate grid. So Luis Ariz, he's still number 1 in batting average, but it blows my mind that Ronald, he's on pace for 40 home runs, 70 stolen bases, while hitting 330. Absolutely insane. Imagine if he was actually elite at defense. I mean, he could be having one of the greatest positional player seasons of all time. Zach Gallen and Spencer Strider, they are tied with Shane McClanahan at 11 wins. I'm hoping that Shane is going to be healthy in the second half. Home runs, we know that it's Shohei Ohtani, but shout out to Matt Olson and even Mookie Betts. Framber Valdez, he leads the pack with ERA at a 2.51 ERA. RBIs, you have Adolis Garcia just ahead of Matt Olson and Shohei Ohtani. Saves, you have Romano and Doval all tied with Alexis Diaz at 26. Class A, he's not been that great over the last few weeks, so he slowed down. Hits, you have Luis Ariz 4 ahead of Bo Bichette, but again, you have Ronald, Freddie, and Lane Thomas. Lane Thomas is top 5 in hits. I mean, they absolutely stole him from the Cardinals. That's another bad trade that I forgot to mention. They got him for a washed-up John Lester. Strikeouts, Spencer Strider is way ahead of everyone, but Kevin Gausman and Pablo Lopez, they're trying to keep up. And shout out to Blake Snell. He's probably been the best pitcher in baseball ever since they acquired Gary Sanchez. Stolen bases, Esteury Ruiz, he's on pace for almost 80. Then you have Ronald, Wander, Bobby, and Corbin Carroll. Quality starts, that just means a pitcher through 6 innings did not allow more than 3 runs. Gausman, Stroman, Webb, and Kirby, they've done that 14 times. I forgot that the Orioles came into the second half with a 5-game winning streak. They are only 2 games back of the Rays for first place in the East, and I think that the Orioles are only going to get better with the addition of Colton Cowser and some of their other young players. The Cleveland Guardians, they are barely in first place. They're in first place even though they have a negative run differential. The Twins are under 500, even though they're the only team in this division with a positive run differential. That's just baseball in a nutshell. The Rangers, they lost 2 in a row coming into the break. They are 2 games ahead of the Astros, was the Angels. I mean, obviously, that's why we're talking about Shohei getting traded, because they lost 5 in a row heading into the second half. The Braves are 8.5 games ahead of the Marlins, who are playing lights out. They're 53-39. The Phillies, they were way under 500 for a while, but shout out to them. They've been playing better, as well as the Mets. They are 6 games under 500, but I feel like they have been playing better. Don't even look at their losing streak. I think that they were playing better baseball. You guys can agree or disagree. The Cincinnati Reds, they are currently in first place in the NL Central. The Brewers are 1 game back, so that is going to be an exciting race to the finish line. And then the NL West, the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. Speaking of exciting races to the finish line, the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks, they're both tied for first place. The Giants, they're 2.5 games back. The Padres, along with the Mets, they've been playing better baseball. They're on a 2-game winning streak coming into the second half. So yeah, a lot to talk about in regards to the division standings. All right, let's go ahead and do this immaculate grid. So we have the Pirates and Hall of Fame. Let me go Roberto Clemente. I am the worst typer in the world, so this is going to be a struggle for me. Hall of Famer for the Blue Jays. I mean, does it have to be inducted as a Hall of Famer for the Blue Jays? I'm going to go ahead and skip that. 300 batting average. That was a Hall of Famer. I'm going to go with an easy one, Ted Williams, because we know that he hit way over 300. The Braves and the Blue Jays, I know that right now because Pilar, I've talked about Pilar often, talking about his Blue Jays days and then even his sneaky random good starts for the Atlanta Braves. 300 batting average for the Atlanta Braves. I don't know if Ronald's never hit 300. Why do I feel like Deion Sanders hit 300 one time? Maybe I'll come back to that because I'm blanking on that. The Reds and the Blue Jays. The Reds and the... Actually, 300 season for the Reds. Obviously, we're going to go with Pete Rose. Who's been a Hall of Famer for the Blues Jays? I feel like I should know this. Halladay. I mean, I feel like this should be... Yeah, okay, Roy Halladay, that was 49% of them, so my rarity score is not going to be all that great because I'm picking a lot of big-name players. Chipper Jones, right? Chipper Jones, once upon a time, hit 300, right? That has to be one of the... Chipper Jones? Okay, Chipper Jones, I was about to say that was actually an easy pick. So 3 more guesses remaining. Who played for the Reds and the Pirates? So let's just kind of go through the list. We have... this is going to be tough. The Braves and the Pirates, Mark... It's got to be Mark Melancon, right? Because didn't he have that stint where he got traded to the Braves, something like that? Mark Melancon, I am 2 away. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and guess Barry Larkin for the Blue Jays and Reds. I mean, at this point, I'm running out of names, so yeah, it's not that. And then the Reds and the Pirates, I'm going to go Rich Hill. I am blanking on these guys. I know some of you are probably screaming names at me, but okay. Did I get that? I did not get that right. Let me see who some of these players could have been. For the Reds and the Pirates, I could have gone with Dave Parker, Frank Thomas. Yeah, a lot of these names are not familiar, so I'm actually cool with that. Colin Moran, I should have guessed that. Only 81 players have played for the Reds and the Blue Jays, but there's probably going to be a big one that is staring at me. Edwin Encarnacion. I forgot that he came up, I think, with the Reds. There's also Scott Rowland, Freddie Galvis. You guys remember Freddie Galvis, Brandon Jury? All right, I mean... fine. But that does it for today's MLB recap. I'm very grateful for your support in the first half. I cannot wait, and I'm super excited for the second half. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.